rather chat?
I'm in your hands.
Okay.
I'm happy.
Okay. Russell, you ready for action?
Let's do it.
Let's hit it.
2, 1.
Hey guys, welcome back to Innate State. Russell, good to see you, my man.
Thank you.
Today we've got an interesting guest here. His name's Nolan. But first we're going to get into our 5-minute meditation. And part of the reason we do that, Nolan, and just to share with the audience, is just to show people that just 5 to 10 minutes can help center them for the day.
Yeah.
I do it in the mornings generally, but we're doing it on the podcast. Everyone, we start sort of like it. So let's do it.
Okay.
Okay. So just take a couple of deep breaths. And on every out breath, just allow yourself to relax a little bit more. Just allow yourself to go deeper and deeper into relaxation. you're ready, you can slowly bring yourself out.
Sometimes you want to stay there.
Nolan, cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Russell,
Russell, cheers.
I say this every time, Nolan. It's kind of a centering.
Yeah.
I mean, like, people come with kind of a pre-planned thing, and that kind of, you're coming from a clean slate in a sense, you know?
Grounding yourself.
It's grounding, it's centering, yeah.
It's
like
important.
you could just carry on there.
Yeah.
So tell me something, Nolan, is meditation a kind of a part of your daily routine?
Yeah, it's a daily ritual.
Yeah.
So now I've actually gotten so good at it that I put my meditation on while I'm in the shower.
Yeah.
And I can meditate
While you're showering?
while I'm showering.
Incredible.
I used to do it while I go out for a walk as well.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to have your eyes closed.
No,
when
no,
you
no,
meditate.
you can do it
You just have to calm yourself.
consciously, yeah, while you...
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I do it on a daily basis.
That's good.
Yeah.
And for many years?
I would say about the last 6 or 7 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like on a regular basis?
On a regular basis,
Yeah. Yeah. I just feel, and also for myself, I meditate every day, but what I do is I sit and I, you know, in quiet, in stillness for an hour.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And it just kind of sets my day, you know.
And it doesn't have to be in the morning only.
No, that can be
Sometimes
any time.
during
That
the
can
day.
be, like this even.
Yeah.
If someone is stressed out or whatever, they go sit quietly. No, it doesn't have to be in the morning.
And
it can be
gather
in the
your
evening.
thoughts, yeah.
You must do what, I think what the point is, you do what...
Works for you.
What you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be an hour. It could be 20 minutes.
Exactly,
Or whatever fits into your schedule. But I think what happens is people, they almost feel like they're going to be wasting their time if it's too long. But you're doing yourself...
The best
You're
service
doing
ever.
yourself, you're doing yourself such a favor by doing it, you know, because you like kind of live a more relaxed life in a sense, you know, you're less stressed.
But people haven't been taught about meditation. Right?
No.
People don't know
And it's about, for me, I'd say it's about the meditation, but it's about mindfulness in general.
Absolutely.
And awareness, you know, awareness of how you interact
self.
in life and thoughts and whatever the case is. And then that combination is very powerful, you know.
You know what I find myself doing at times as well? Sometimes if I'm stuck with whatever challenge it is, I tend to go into a meditative state and I speak up to the universe to give me the answers.
And there's more clarity. The clarity is
much
coming.
more. The download is amazing.
Without trying to figure it out with thoughts, because the thinking is limited.
It is.
You're coming from a deeper place, a place of wisdom.
That's it.
That's where the wisdom is coming from, the stillness, not from the chit-chat in your head.
You need to quieten the noise.
Yeah, you go turn the volume down a little bit. You know? But it takes practice, that.
It does. So a lot of people that I talk to about, you know, how they can quieten the noise, I always say to them when they close their eyes, just imagine at the front of their forehead there's a door. Open the door, let the noise and clutter go out, and shut the door.
Like a release valve.
And shut the door.
Very
and
good.
people have said that it works, right?
Okay.
Yeah, people have said it works. So,
you know, I think one of the biggest problems, and I know for myself many years ago, where the mind just like rules your life, you don't realize that it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
People don't know. They don't know that there's a place of stillness which can carry on into your life, into your everyday.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to just be when you meditate, or they're just not aware of how controlling all those thoughts are.
And you control those thoughts.
Yeah, but you get lost in them. You know, people are like lost in all that thinking, and the biggest suffering is actual mental suffering.
Yeah.
I feel anyway.
Well, it's true because people take on too much. And you can block out, for me, I can block out those negative thoughts.
Can you block it out?
I can block it out.
Because a lot of people can't.
And there's very simple ways, a very easy way to block it out.
Like little techniques. Yeah.
A simple technique is don't listen to negative media.
Yeah, number one,
that's
number one,
the first
close.
thing, right?
Turn off the news.
Exactly, because the more
Yeah.
you turn it off, the more you're going to train yourself to allow the positive to come in,
Yeah.
right? Or to override the
Yeah,
negative.
there's a difference. Yeah,
Exactly.
big difference.
With social media, people love. How many positive posts do you see getting their attention versus a negative meme?
Yeah.
So it shows where people are directed towards. But if they say, well, I don't need to see that, I want to look at something inspirational.
Yeah, let me change my focus. Change the focus.
Change your focus.
Yeah.
I honestly believe, Andrew, and I've seen it, in today's day and age, a lot of people are changing towards the more positive.
Yeah.
The younger generation.
There's a general trend, eh?
There's a general
which is a
trend
good
there.
thing.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your story, Nolan. I know you're involved in, I think, computer stuff. Am I right? Or is it?
Yeah, my background is IT.
Yeah.
I've been a SAP consultant for
Yeah.
33 odd years now of
Okay.
my life.
But has spirituality been kind of part of your journey, even though obviously you've been working in
Look, to be
so
honest,
corporate?
no.
Did that change with your experience?
It changed in my early 40s.
Okay.
I'm now 53.
Yes.
So in my early 40s, I learned more about spirituality.
Okay.
I've been religious throughout my life.
Yes.
Being a Hindu.
Yeah.
And I only was taught that, right? So
Yeah,
that was, I didn't
because
know
that's
anything
kind
better.
of what your parents showed
What you're
you,
conditioned
whatever.
to
Yeah,
do.
your conditioning.
Yeah. So in my 40s, I started
Yeah.
getting more inclined to the spiritual
Okay.
world. And now we, besides myself, my whole family, we tend to balance the religion.
'Cause you can
and the
bridge it.
spirituality. You can.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the more, even with religion as well, the more questions you ask, the more you realize why you're doing certain religious practices
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
But for me, spirituality is that calming of the mind. Religious part is, yes, it's my opportunity, my time to pray and
Yes.
speak to God. But from a spiritual point of view, this is when I'm taking that and I'm using it to my benefit. You know, that's my connection to the universe.
I was quite, part of my journey was, there was a lot of Hindu spiritualism, which is more about also awareness, but energy activation, kundalini, all that kind of
Correct,
stuff.
yeah.
So that's also, but not as a religious modality,
Yeah.
more from a spiritual aspect.
And you've been doing this for years now, I guess. Right?
Like 25 years,
wow.
long time. But so I've had a lot of big shifts over the time, but that combination was extremely powerful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ancient wisdom within Hinduism.
Yeah.
But what I want to ask you, so you started like in your 40s, more spirituality, etc. And then what actually happened, and what, in the sense that, what was your big shift that took you to writing books and things like this?
Sure. This book, my COVID journey, the shift happened in 2021.
This one, and we're going to post it up. Yeah.
This happened in 2021.
Yeah.
So prior to 2021, I have never aspired to be an author. I was too lazy to write, and I didn't want to do it.
It wasn't inspiration. It wasn't something
for me.
that you were considering.
Not at all.
Yeah.
But what had happened in 2021 in January, I'd come down with COVID pneumonia. And I refused to go to the hospital because I'm anti-COVID. And I didn't believe in it at all.
Were you anti-vaccines and that as well?
Oh, yeah,
at the time?
I have not taken the vaccine.
Still not?
For the record, yeah,
okay,
still
no,
not.
that's interesting.
So in that January, after about 8 or 9 days at home, my wife and my son found me at the back of our yard, kind of like in a slumped up position like this.
Yeah.
And that's when they said, we need to take this guy to the hospital now.
You were like...
I didn't want to go.
Like you're going to die there if you don't go.
I was willing to fight it with all my might.
Yeah.
And furthermore, I didn't have medical aid at the time.
Sure.
And I was scared to go to a government hospital.
No, yeah, that's a bit scary in itself.
So I was really nervous.
Yeah.
But when they had found me in that state, then they rushed me. My daughter was able to sort out our medical aid. We paid the arrear amount.
You were just,
reactivated
okay,
it.
yeah, quickly.
Very quickly she did it. But that's the truth. She did it very quickly, within an hour.
Okay.
While she was doing it, they were driving me to Linksfield Hospital. So I got to Linksfield, which is about 20 k's away from
Why did you go to Linksfield?
There was no other hospitals that. And my sister worked at Linksfield.
And they were
as well.
full as well, probably around. Yeah.
They were packed.
Okay.
And my sister was working at
was
Linksfield.
she working there? Yeah.
So she said, come to Linksfield.
Okay.
Because we know it's also top care as well.
Yeah.
So I get there, and they come out with the bed, etc. Take me from the car, put me in. I go into casualty. The doctor does this, Andrew. He looks at me, he looks at my wife, my son, and he Shakes
How
the
easy,
head.
like, no,
But
this one's done.
but that was the message he gave to them.
Jeepers.
Like, this guy is not going to make it.
And your wife probably just started crying, man.
She was very brave, and my son. But I could see that the tears were there.
They weren't flipping, feeling good.
They were there. It was there.
Shame, man. Yeah.
But I observed that. In that state that I was in, I observed it. And I said to them, don't worry, I will walk out of this hospital. That's when I made that decision to survive.
Right there.
Right there and then.
So maybe him doing that is something
a good
that did something in your head, and you
Yeah.
were like, listen, no.
That triggered something.
This isn't going to fit.
Exactly.
It's not going that way, buddy.
Not at all. And when I made that
Yeah.
promise, I
Yeah.
said to myself, I will fight this with all my might. And we know as humans, it doesn't always work out in that way. That episode put me 13 days in the intensive care unit. When I was admitted,
13 days is a long, that's long, eh?
that's a long. I went in with 58% oxygen levels. That's a near-death experience. 58% oxygen levels. So they had me on drips and a whole lot of
And
things.
those, what were those things called?
I didn't go on the ventilator.
Ventilator. You didn't go on a
I
ventilator.
refused the ventilator. And my sister knows me having a strong mindset. She said, do not put this guy on the ventilator.
Why
He will
not?
fight this.
Why wouldn't you go on that?
I knew because my chances will be slim.
Would it be? I mean, I'm not
because
aware of that. Yeah, that's what I'm just
it's-
asking.
About that, eh? There was
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of people that we
Okay.
know that went on the ventilator
Yeah.
didn't make it, purely because the ventilator is helping you to come out of that state.
So
that
in
you're
a sense, you not fighting it, then
You're
it's
not
giving you
fighting
too
it.
much, like, support in a sense.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we didn't want that.
Yeah.
I wanted to fight this,
Okay. Yeah.
on my own.
Yeah.
So everything was, for those 13 days, it was tough. I was near a door. Every time you find a bed being wheeled across and the head is covered, or the sheet is over the head,
Dead.
there's another one gone.
Jeepers.
And it was bodies after bodies that were passing all the
Like
time.
just rotating through there.
It was the scariest.
But
thing.
you were still like kind of compass mentis of
I could
what
see
was
what's
going on around
happening.
you, but you were just out of it.
I was out of it.
Yeah.
I could not use the bathroom.
Yeah.
They had to bring one of these.
You couldn't get out of
commodes and
bed,
stuff like
basically.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I could
Jeepers.
barely take 10 steps when I went
Yeah.
in. And prior to that, I was very fit. I was hiking and doing a lot
Okay.
of things.
Yeah.
So, but all of that was good things because it helped me through this journey.
Yeah.
But something happened again on day 6 as well. On day 6, there was a doctor opposite me, a doctor, right, who should be saving lives. He was on the ventilator and he was pulling out all these cords, falling on the floor.
So he was also like
He was opposite
He was
me.
next to you there, basically, also
Opposite
in a
me,
bed. Yeah.
He was pulling out all the cords and he
Yeah.
said, I want to die, I want to die, I want to die. He
The
could
doctor?
not, that doctor,
Cheapest shame, man. You must have been in bad
he,
shape.
he was in a bad shape.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
eventually it got calmed down and the night went through and the next morning I woke up and I looked there and the bed was empty. So I asked the nurse, where's the doctor? And she said he passed her.
So he had basically he had given up and
He gave up.
and-
Something
and it
happened
was-
to
Yeah,
him.
something happened, and mentally he was also
Fear,
just out of it.
a lot
Yeah.
of it. But
Yeah.
that broke me.
What, seeing that?
It broke me knowing that he's a
Yeah.
doctor, should be saving
Yeah.
lives, but here he is asking to die. It broke me to the point that I was able to use my phone, a video call,
Yeah.
and I got in touch with my family,
Yeah.
my wife and my kids, and I said to them, I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore.
Really? So you
I
got
was giving up
So
on my
you got
life.
to that point where you're like,
I was broken.
You know what? Actually, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, it was tough. I'm a human. We
Yeah.
all are humans.
No,
We-
100%.
We have to experience
yeah,
this.
Yeah. And it's scary.
But
It's scary.
it's scary,
place. Yeah.
And my daughter
yeah,
said to me
yeah,
one thing.
Yeah.
There's something I carry in my pocket every single day, and I think your audience would love to see this.
Yeah, let's see.
Apart from my handkerchief, because
Yeah.
the other day someone said, "Do you still carry a hanky?" I said, "Yes, I do."
Old school.
Old school. So this is something that I call my gold card.
Okay.
Yeah. So gold card is basically, you're welcome to read it. It basically has all the things I still need to accomplish in
I need
life.
my glasses, but
Yeah.
but you can tell us more or less.
It's basically things that I still need to do in life.
Okay.
Like one of it here is become a New York Times bestseller. That's one of my goals.
Okay.
So every single goal that I'm still aspiring to is on this. So she showed me this in that video conference, and she said, "Dad, don't forget what your purpose
Remember,
is."
you've got your list.
Yeah, she said, but she said in this way, don't forget what your purpose is. And when I had gone in, we were planning to climb Mount Kilimanjaro with deaf people, 5 deaf people.
Is that before?
that was in
before
the
all
goal
of
card
this?
at
Or
the
was
time.
that part of the goals?
It was before
Okay.
that, before I got
Yeah,
admitted.
yeah.
And that triggered like a whole lot of things. Immediately, I had to snap out of that victim mindset, that self-pity mindset, up my meditation game, up my positive affirmations.
It just changed
my
your whole
it changed my
mindset,
whole
just
mindset
flipping.
completely. And I said to her, I will do it. I will get better. And this was on day 6,
Isn't that
by
incredible?
the way.
Because, I mean, you're in a place of rock bottom now,
Yeah.
eh? And now suddenly this...
She tells me this. I had to shift. But with due respect to, not anybody can just change like that.
No, it's not that simple.
I've been doing mind work. I've been
For a
doing,
long time,
like the Bob Proctor, the Tony Robbins, and mind
But
value
also
for a very
in
long
business
time.
as well, eh?
Yeah,
part
I've
of
been
your
doing it for a
job.
long time. So I've been training my mind for a really long time.
Yeah.
But it was just unfortunate that I had broken down, but I had to come back out of it. And it was easier for me to come out of it than any other person that does not practice.
Because you've done the groundwork.
I've been doing the work for it as well.
Yeah.
So I started the rebuild, and eventually, 13 days later, I was able to get out of the ICU, go into a normal ward for 1 day. And then after the 1 day, I was able to be discharged, but on condition. I had to carry this huge oxygen tank around me because I still had the pipes through my nose. That was the only condition. I had to carry it with me for a month. So that promise that I made to my family that I will walk out from here, unfortunately, it did not become a reality because part of COVID protocol was I needed to go with a wheelchair to the exit of the hospital.
Okay, but it was good enough.
It was good enough. But when I got to the exit, I stood up and I walked to the car with my oxygen tank. I walked to the car, got in, etc. I got home. I started training myself to walk again, to breathe.
Yeah, because actually, I realized I heard a lot of people couldn't walk afterwards.
People couldn't walk.
Yeah.
I had to walk around the yard area, but I was doing something also magical as well. I knew that plants give us natural oxygen. Yeah. I was actually going to the trees, standing next to it, and
just seeing that you're bringing in extra energy.
And power, I was barefoot, so on the turf, I was grounding. I was earthing myself so magically that things were just happening. After 2 weeks, I said to my wife, call the company that gave us the oxygen tank and tell them, come and take this oxygen tank away, give it to somebody else that needs it, I will be fine. So within 2 weeks, I was like getting better.
Yeah.
And I started training myself again, and I continued to walk. The one thing about the book, just to go back to that, on the day 6 when I almost gave up, on the day 7 when I started recovering, I had posted a video on social media in like 10 seconds each video because I could barely breathe and speak at the same time. So there was like 4 recordings of about 10, 12 seconds each. And there were 2 girls that followed me and followed my journey, not only with the COVID prior to that.
Okay.
And they said to me, Nolan, the world needs to hear your story.
Straight away.
They posted that, and it's still on my Facebook.
Yeah.
So I said, what do you mean? They said, tell the world your story. And she said, write about it. So I had never bothered about writing and stuff until that triggered something in me. So
can I ask you one thing? Sorry, Nolan.
Sure.
So when that shift happened in the hospital, did you start visualizing yourself being healthier, or was it more a question of like a knowing?
No, I had to visualize it.
You were visualizing that I'm going to be getting out of here.
I'm going to get out of here. So there's a meditation that I do. It's called the 3 scenes technique.
Okay.
It's something I learned. So the 3 scenes technique briefly is very simple. The first scene, you imagine yourself like in a really bad way, like you're never going to get out of this.
Okay.
The second scene is where you start taking steps towards getting better.
So it's a progressive
thing.
Meditation.
And then the last scene is where you visualize yourself playing with your grandkids.
Like running down the street or whatever the case is.
Back to your normal self. So I was doing that. And when I said up my meditation, I was doing that like about 4 or 5 times a day.
Like the whole day kind of thing.
At the time, right?
I'm serious now. I'm not messing around.
And I had the time. So I continued doing that. The positive self-talk. I was getting prayer messages from throughout the world because people had found out about me, and I was like very well connected internationally.
Okay.
Prayers from throughout the world.
Sure.
In all religions. And I accepted everything because to
100%.
me, prayer is prayer. I see you. I don't see you as a Christian,
there's
Muslim,
power
or
in all
anything.
of it.
So I accepted all of that, and all of that was bringing me out of this the state that I was in. And
so it's kind of a transformation of just your outlook, your mental state.
Mindset
it's
shift.
so powerful.
Mindset shift. It's one of the most powerful things we can do. Anybody that has issues in their life or going through any challenges, they just need to pause and think what they need to do to get out of it, instead of staying in that depressive state and not wanting to move forward. A lot of people get sucked into that.
Because in hindsight now, when you look at it, Nolan, do you see it as there was a gift in it? in getting to that rock bottom? Would you
Both
call it that?
a good gift and a bad gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say a good, because sometimes you got to fall really hard to pick yourself up.
Because it's turned your life around, in
Exactly.
a sense.
Yeah.
You become, like you're sharing your message with the world.
I become better as a person.
You had to get to that point.
Yeah.
So there was a blessing in...
Definitely a blessing in
you can call it
disguise.
in disguise, but it was there.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Most definitely.
It's a big deal. What is the name of the book? COVID Journey.
It's called My COVID Journey.
My COVID Journey.
Mindset hacks and techniques that got me through it.
Yeah.
And in there,
so you go into the little, like you're saying, the meditations,
everything that I did,
the stuff you did to break through.
Correct. And basic stuff like positive self-talk, and a simple thing that I use and I'm sure you both know of people that keep complaining that they're sick.
Yeah.
What happens to them?
No, they're going to
They stay sick, right?
Yeah, no,
until they change their mind and say, well, I am going to get better.
Problem.
I am going to get better.
Just
And
change
they do.
it. Yeah.
It's just changing your thought pattern, unlearning that conditioning that we come from where we complain all the time.
Yeah.
So it's simple things like that I put into that book.
And the book has done quite well for you with regards
it's doing very well.
Sales, etc.
The book, it's done very well in sales, but I must be honest, it was not written with the intention to make money.
No, for sure.
There were two intentions with this book.
But the money's a plus. If there's money.
It's a major plus.
Yeah.
But it's very important that I mention the two intentions.
Yeah. Okay.
One was to help as many people as possible who lost their loved ones through COVID.
Okay.
For them to understand what a COVID patient had gone through so that they can reach peace and closure in their lives and they can move forward. That was a big intention of mine that I had written down prior to even writing the book. And the second one was to share the techniques and tools that I used to get out of it. Those tools and techniques, you don't have to use it for COVID only. You can use it for your day-to-day challenges.
General.
Yeah.
Anyone who's down.
So that's what it's been on Amazon for a while. And funny enough, early on, not early on in the week, I was saying to my wife, I said, it's so amazing that every time you get an email that says, okay, you've just been paid certain amount because somebody's bought your book. So there's some plus to it as well.
For sure, but it also makes you feel good. Someone's enjoying it.
Somebody's enjoying your book, yeah.
Someone's getting value out of something.
No, true.
It was a tough experience.
It's turning a painful moment into a success story.
Exactly.
So for me, that painful moment made me into a first-time author. And
now there's more books.
Yeah, so there were two other books that I've done. I've written chapters in those books.
So these ones are, just explain these to us.
Yeah.
It's by Ignite.
So Ignite Publishing is...
Ignite your faith and ignite your courage.
Yeah.
So you've done some chapters
I've done chapters in it.
Yeah.
So Ignite Your Courage is all about from Samosa Boy to CEO.
Samosa Boy.
So you know
I like
samosas, right? Yeah. So that chapter very briefly speaks about.
I just like the sound of it. It sounds funny,
But it's a real thing, right?
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
You know, I come from a poverty background.
Yeah.
Samosas is something my mom used to make when we were growing up as kids, and we used to go out at 5 a.m. in the morning selling this to the neighborhood.
Really?
So that we could have money to buy bread for lunch.
So it was a big place in your life.
Big factor. And it was very simple. If you didn't make a sale, you go to school with no lunch, right?
Yeah.
The school provided jam and peanut butter sandwiches, which we were grateful for.
Yeah.
But that was what we did as a 10-year-old boy going out.
It's a big thing, Nolan. It's a big thing.
It is, yeah.
So in that chapter, is that what you go into? Kind of.
I speak about that
starting
in that
at
chapter.
humble beginnings.
Correct. I speak
and
about
where things go to.
Correct. Yeah. So it's all about the story of this 10-year-old boy that goes to school with no jersey on a cold day, no shoes.
Okay.
It's real poverty.
Yeah.
When I say extreme poverty, it's like studying at night with a small candle like this, and it's not because we have load shedding. It's because my parents couldn't afford to pay the electricity.
Yes.
bill.
Yeah.
So think of and just visualize this for a second, a 1-bedroom home where the lounge, you got a kitchen, a small kitchen. The lounge is divided by a curtain where your parents sleep on the one side and 5 kids are on the other side.
5 kids, eh?
5 kids. So that's the type of background that I come from. But again, I did not allow that poverty situation to dictate who I could become as a person. I never allowed the apartheid regime and everything that I faced as a very...
Growing up in that era.
Being beaten to the state of being beaten by the police back then.
Really?
Yeah, because there were curfews.
Yeah.
If you were in a city center after 2 p.m., you get beaten, and I got beaten twice for that. But again, that didn't dictate who I could become as a person. If I used apartheid, poverty as an excuse, I wouldn't become who I am.
Yeah, if you were still stuck in blaming,
The blame game, correct. Yeah.
which is tough for a lot of people, I think, to break out of that, especially in South Africa. Am I right?
Exactly. And I think to the audience that's listening as well, take this as a lesson. You don't have to stay stuck there, and don't use that as an excuse, because to me, it is an excuse.
It is, yeah.
It's the past.
But it keeps you down. It doesn't help you to grow when you blaming.
Exactly. It doesn't allow you to move forward when you're blaming.
To move. That's the problem.
And that's when you're blaming all the time. But when you can shift from the blame game and say, well, what could that have taught me? And what did I learn from it? That's the difference.
Yeah.
And I can tell you a lot of people in South Africa can get out of it.
Yeah.
But people, and mainly the seniors, keep putting this back into their minds, especially with our youth.
And back into the kids' minds.
Back into the kids' minds. And they keep reminding them, these kids were never affected by apartheid.
Back in that day, you know what they were doing,
exactly,
et cetera, et cetera.
Which is a disservice that they're doing to our young kids who can do so much more better in life. That's
because if I remember correctly, because I chatted to Nolan just on the phone briefly, and you were talking about a book with regards to, I don't know if it's the new one that's coming out, with regards to assisting people to move through that. Am I correct?
Correct. It's the new book that's going to be launched next Friday.
What is that called?
So that's called the Millennial Success Code. Inspire, Enlighten, Transform. And that book, very briefly, basically, it speaks to the millennials. But the age category I'm looking at is from 17 to 43, because a lot of people are still stuck in corporate with no purpose and no direction. So the book there's 3 different phases in the book. The first one is where I'm teaching them how to find purpose, how to find values, how to go back to your values, where you come from. Because we never should forget what our roots are, but learn from it as well. So each chapter or each phase is teaching them something different, till the point where I'm teaching them how to work with their communities, how to network with people like you and I, how to find mentors, how to find people, like-minded people that you can learn and grow from as well, how to become an entrepreneur. I teach them about finances, very simple thing.
No, basic things. You don't need
basic stuff. It's not rocket science.
You don't need a BCom.
Exactly. It's simple things. And a lot of the things in the book is about experiences that I've been through, but sharing what I did to get through that situation. Whatever obstacle or challenge that I faced in life as well, I'm telling them, this is what I faced. But I didn't see it as a challenge. Although it was a challenge, I saw it as, what can I learn from this?
That's a different mindset.
Exactly. So that first chapter or that first part of the book is getting them to change that mindset. Because I believe if we can change, especially the youth's mindset, get them out of their entitlement mentality, get them to realize they got so much of potential within themselves, what a beautiful country we can
And they're limiting themselves through all of that. Like you're saying, entitlements, et cetera, and I also found, even from my own experience, when you can feel productive in something, everything shifts.
It changes.
Like suddenly you're doing something, you feel good about doing something, but there needs to be steps to start doing that.
To do it, right?
Yeah.
Look, Andrew, you learned spirituality 25 years ago, right? But you had to learn it. Who's teaching these youngsters how to live life?
No, I don't think the school system is buggered.
The school system doesn't do that. They're only focusing on 30% pass rate. So that 30% pass rate, we kind of conditioning them to think they can operate at a 30% level, yet they can operate at a much higher level.
And I mean, at 30%, like, that's not impressive anyway, is it?
It's ridiculous.
I mean, come on.
But people do that for a specific reason, right? Politicians do it.
No, they want to
be honest, right?
They want to suppress. And
keep
that's part of the problem.
Uneducated, right?
I know.
And
it's sad.
Yeah. So.
And and I know we don't want to get into politics. But in this country, it's been kind of say the new government for how long? More than 30 years now.
Yeah.
And the education system is worse than it's ever been.
And it's never going to get better until we change it.
Yeah. And an educated youth is an empowered youth.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's up to guys like us.
Yeah.
You, Russell, myself. People that are awoke in a way that can help groom them.
Yeah.
But we can't, a lot of people preach this word all the time that they want to help the youth, but they're not taking action. A lot of people are doing it in a very different way. They're doing it just to go and do a program with the youth and that's it, over and done with. I collected the funds or the money from it. That's it. They're not doing it to make real
And there's
value.
no real follow-up with it or whatever the case may be.
Impact, right?
Yeah. It's
not
such
there.
it's a tricky thing, Nolan. It is tricky. But maybe through a book like that, even if if it gets out to the youth,
Yeah.
it will empower them. It will help them.
It's going to get out for sure. I'm manifesting this. I'm visualizing
Yeah.
every single day that it has to go out. It must start from matriculants. It's a lot of people that have done a testimonial on the book already have said this is like a Bible for the youth out there as well. So you guys know Think and Grow Rich, right? You must know it, right?
Yeah.
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill Foundation.
I actually don't know.
Oh no!
Yeah.
So it's a self-help
Russell knows.
book basically. So I've actually partnered with the Napoleon Hill Foundation because I believe in their content. So I've got the license. I bought the IP to train and coach that content in South Africa.
Okay, and what is its main? What is it about, Nolan?
It's more self-help. It's about teaching you how to become a better person.
Okay.
And if you look at the book, the way it's structured, it's got kind of things that you must do. So it's not about reading a book and putting it down. It's reading the book, applying what you learned, and continuing with that. So the Millennial Success Code is very similar to that, but it's not based on what Napoleon Hill has been through.
Yes.
It's based on what Nolan Pillay has been through.
Yeah, no, for sure.
The real life South African, right?
A real life, normal person.
Exactly. Samosa boy, right?
Samosa boy. No, for sure.
That's what it is. So
for sure.
And that's why this book can be converted. It's already converted into like a lecture book.
Yeah.
So if you start teaching this, we spoke about the education system. All we're doing is teaching kids about history, Afrikaans, maths, and all of these things here.
And when do you use that stuff?
Exactly. Who's teaching them how to become better? It's
self-empowerment.
Self-empowerment. Because if you can focus on self-empowerment, you can become an entrepreneur. You can go and work in a corporate. You can, once you're in the corporate, you can climb the ladder automatically because you know what you want to do. You find some purpose.
But you got to find that purpose. You got to find that almost vision of, we're not all meant to drive Ferraris. Let's be honest.
Exactly.
But everyone's got their own. I believe you're born into a certain family and a structure to learn things in your life.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're not all the same, but through being empowered, even if you're doing something simple, you can look after your family, you can send them to school, etc., etc. That's empowering.
That's what it is. And you alluded to purpose. It always starts with purpose.
Yeah.
Right? And the book, that part one, is teaching them how to find purpose. Because I believe if we can teach people to find purpose.
How do they find purpose? Can you touch on that briefly?
So for me, how I found it was to go back to my initial values. And one of the values, and a lot of people may argue that humanity is not really a value, but it is. It's a very deep-rooted value. So when I speak about the value of humanity, I go back to where this 10-year-old boy was and what he was doing. And it always brings me back to the fact that in everything that I do in my life, I look at humans first. I do it towards serving humanity first. That has become my purpose-driven life now, is serving humanity. And a lot of the other projects I do is strictly about serving in that way.
So it's changing it from being a self-serving to serving others.
Yeah.
And that's extremely powerful, Nolan.
And when you do that, when you find that balance, everything else will fall into place, right?
Yeah.
Automatically.
I love it.
Automatically.
I'm telling you, I love it.
Yeah.
I can feel it, yeah.
It has for me.
Yeah, yeah.
And I always say if it's worked for me, it can work for anyone out there. I've worked with youth before and I've coached them and trained them on this, and it worked for them.
Yeah.
That serving attitude, it's just so powerful. I don't need to drive a Ferrari.
No.
I want to just be a simple human who's making an impact in the world. I want to leave a legacy.
And that's perfect.
Yeah.
Isn't it
and
perfect?
I'm happy with that.
But now, so touch on how you got to climb Kilimanjaro finally.
Oh.
And I know he went with Sivan, who was on there previously.
From Eastside Barbers,
I
yes.
know you were gonna do it before COVID, and then you did it after COVID. How much longer after recovery?
So I'll just give you a bit of a backstory on that.
Yeah.
But Sivan is a fantastic guy from Eastside Barbers as well, a humanitarian of note. We're doing so much.
He's a
together.
lovely guy.
It's unbelievable. So my wife and I climbed in 2019.
Prior to
my COVID experience.
Well, and just because you wanted to?
No.
Or was
did it
there
for
a
a cause.
purpose behind it?
There was a purpose behind it.
Okay, tell us.
I did it with Trek for Mandela, And we are raising funds for girls in rural areas to have access to sanitary pads.
Okay.
Sanitary
A simple thing, but a big thing.
Simple thing
Yeah.
that should be given to them for free.
It should be automatic, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I always say, and a lot of my talks that I've given, I say this out to government people, if you can put condoms in the male bathrooms, why can't you put sanitary pads in the female bathrooms?
For sure.
You know? It's a simple. But so anyway, we climbed
Yeah.
in 2019.
Yeah.
My wife climbed for the very first time, and I climbed for the very first time, and we did it.
Climbing as in climbing mountains or just climbing Kilimanjaro?
Climbing Kilimanjaro
Okay.
was our first trip. It took us 6 months to train, and
Really?
myself as well. It's all about
You were
this.
trekking around Benoni with your backpack on?
Not really.
Not so much?
We are doing a 5 kilometer 2-3 times a week.
Okay.
On a weekend, we'll do twice a month a long
So
hike.
you didn't have to hit it too, it's not
You didn't have to be fit.
too hard. Yeah.
You don't have to be fit to do Kilimanjaro.
Okay.
The first few days are all about just climbing and climbing. It's mileage on your leg. The last day is all about this mindset.
Finishing it up.
Yeah, my 2019 experience, I felt my dad was late next to me and my granny, kind of tucked in here, holding my hand and cheering me up and pulling me up that mountain.
Were you almost hallucinating in a sense, or what did
I
you
could have
feel?
been, I could have been, but
But you felt like they were there.
I felt like they were there. I was in
Yeah.
my normal sense because I was focusing a lot on taking care of Seema, right? Because I had been fit. I've done some
A lot of
extreme things
training
before,
stuff.
not her.
Yeah.
So my focus and attention was
Okay.
on her. But I felt the presence of there.
Interesting.
You're about 6 kilometers above sea level. You're above clouds, right?
Yeah, because people die on
high.
that thing, eh?
Oh, a lot of people, I know
With
for people that
the
died.
with the altitude sickness.
It's the altitude sickness.
Yeah.
Not only the altitude sickness, people underestimate the mountain as well. I know fit people that passed on, and it was very simple because they thought or they knew they were fit and they rushed this mountain. Kilimanjaro, you do not rush it.
Really, you got to take your time.
You take your time. They call it pole pole, which means slowly, slowly. It's basically baby steps. And the reason why you do baby steps is when you do that, you get used to the altitude and your oxygen levels adapts to it. And you kind of become one with the altitude on there, basically.
So you actually got to take your time.
You've got to take your time.
Enjoy the
You don't rush
scenery
it.
a bit.
Enjoy the scenery, although sometimes they may just be land and land and land. Enjoy your thoughts. Just be.
It
all to
can be a
yourself.
spiritual experience in itself.
It is a
Nolan.
spiritual experience.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. So that was 2019. Eventually, we got up to the mountain. We summited successfully. We came down. And from that experience, we run a nonprofit, or I founded a nonprofit
What's it
organization.
called?
It's called Be the Best Version of Yourself. Again, it's telling people, be the best version of yourself.
I love it. Don't you love it? Be the best version of yourself. It's so
simple, right?
It's simple. Just be the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be.
Exactly. So I founded it, but in the last year, I've handed over the CEO position to my son, who's 29 years old, because
Okay.
I want to get the young blood in there and the young ideas,
Yes.
innovation, thoughts, etc.
Yes.
But we've been, with the foundation, we've been doing a lot of feeding schemes throughout our lives.
Okay.
And then we said, well, okay, we're serving humanity. Why not take this to the next level? Start up a foundation, get it registered, follow all the legal processes, get all of that in place. And that's when we said, well, let's do something really extreme again so that we can inspire others to sponsor us, support us, and join us on our mission.
Definitely.
Right? So this had started in 2020. So 2019 was when we climbed for the first time. And funny enough, 2019 was the first year I decided to quit corporate because
Okay.
the environment had become too toxic
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah, well, it wasn't serving you in that
It
sense.
wasn't serving
Yeah.
me, but I saw it as a positive because I asked myself and the universe a few questions. What is this trying to teach me? And the answers I got back was, get out and find your purpose. So that was 2019. I run my own company, which is Straight Talk with Nolan. It's a profit company, and that's where I run a lot of my programs from. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because all of this happened in 2019, in September
Yes.
2019. So I relaunched the company, and during the launch of my company, I had 3 deaf people come and speak at the launch of this.
Of your company.
Yeah. We had it at Workshop 17 in Sandton, and they spoke at this event.
Okay.
Now, back then, Mrs. Deaf South Africa 2019.
I don't know, there was such a person.
Exactly.
Did you? Mrs. Dave South. I mean, it sounds crazy in a sense, but
It's there.
we don't know.
And while
Yeah.
you're on that, Andrew, because you recognize Miss South Africa, Mrs. South Africa, Mr. South Africa.
I'm thinking it's someone attractive.
Exactly. It's again,
Like, you
it's
know,
how
like
we see people,
it's
right?
how we, yeah, you know,
How we see
like
people.
how you would
So-
expect
Why is
it.
there a separation?
Because one is with the disability. So with the Miss South Africa,
It's not that you look different, it's just that you can't hear.
you
Just called
exactly.
here, which is essentially, it's
But I think with the Miss South Africa rules, and I stand corrected, I don't think they've allowed for deaf people to
Okay.
come and take part in their pageants.
Okay.
But there's a big difference to it as well, Russell, and I like that you asked that. With the Miss South Africa, they get all the attention.
yeah.
The Mrs. Deaf South Africa gets no attention.
Well, I've never heard of it.
Exactly. It's run by a non-profit organization who we are very attached to now, and we raise funds for their
Okay.
on their behalf. But let's go back to
Yeah.
2019 when
Yeah.
they spoke at the
Yes,
launch.
tell us.
So Mrs. Deaf South Africa, Ketiwe Madi, she's late. She passed on with COVID. May she rest in peace. She spoke to my audience. I had a sign language interpreter as well, right? And listen to this. This is what she asked my audience and myself. She said, what if all of you here cannot hear, and I'm the only one that can hear? Who is the one with the disability?
True.
Imagine if you swap
Switch
it in that
around.
way.
Yeah.
That got me thinking. I went silent for a moment. I sat there, and there were so many different thoughts going through my mind. One of the thoughts that went through my mind was, what can I do to help the deaf community? And during that time, Climb for the Deaf, exactly at the moment, Climb for the Deaf was born. And Climb for the Deaf was to take 5 deaf.
So was that a part of a fundraiser?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so when that idea was born in my mind, so it
Yeah.
always starts in the mind, right?
Yeah.
The thought. When it was formed in my mind at the launch of my event, I didn't say it to my wife. I didn't say it to anyone. I had to still come back and think about
Kind
it
of
a bit
work on it a bit. Yeah.
Work on it a bit. But then I said to myself, why can I not take that thought, take a little action towards it and make it into a reality? And that's when we formed Climb for the Deaf, right? So Climb for the Deaf had 3 intentions. One was to take 5 deaf people up the mountain, make their dreams into a reality. 2, raise as much funds as possible and give the gift of hearing to children born deaf. And the third one was to start having workshops with hearing people and deaf people so that we can bridge the gap. So 3 intentions. So you speak a lot about spirituality as well, Andrew. With spirituality, always, to everyone listening, write down your intentions. There is so much of power in writing this down, like I do it on my goal card as
Yeah.
well.
There's power in putting it
In putting it down.
paper.
But make it
Yeah.
as an intention, not just for the sake of making it into an intention. Take action towards it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we started that in end of 2019, and 2020 comes, that's when COVID happened, right?
Yeah.
We all went on lockdown. We had planned to climb in August of 2020.
I had you. Okay.
We planned. So we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Come 2021, I get COVID in January 2021. We can't climb in August 2021, and there's still lockdowns, right? So we have to push it into 2022.
Yeah.
But that 2021, I started off with my COVID experience.
Yeah.
And I ended the year, as one would say, a mighty high. So what do I mean by a mighty high?
You did the climb.
I like that you said that, because that's what one would think,
That's what I'm thinking.
right? So what had happened in December of that 2021, I felt my chest tightening up and I couldn't breathe. I was able to drive. I drove myself to Linksfield. I thought it's my lungs that's
Yeah.
collapsing because of my COVID experience.
This was after the COVID experience.
This was my
couple
COVID
of
was
months later.
almost a year later, because
Okay.
January 2021 was COVID. In between, I wrote the book, etc. Come December 2021,
You're feeling something's
feeling
not
like-
feeling good.
not feeling good. I drive myself to Linksfield Hospital. They take me into casualty. They do some blood tests. My reading should have been between 14 and 17, the one blood count. It was 647.
Huh?
They said to me, Mr. Pillay, you've just had a mild heart attack. Me, being a fit guy, having a heart attack?
You're like, no, that's
No ways,
weird.
this is
Yeah.
not me. So anyway, they rushed me in, and they put 3 stents into me in that December
Sure.
2021. That's why I say end the year on a mighty high. My interpretation
High
of mighty
numbers.
high. So they did it, right? It set me back a few weeks. Christmas was spent
But
at
still
home.
a bit scary. I mean, now that's two
in
things
one
in a year
year.
is a bit.
But I still
you
had
still-
in my mind
Yeah.
that I needed to take 5 deaf people up the mountain.
Okay.
So we had moved it to August of 2022. By then, COVID rules had been relaxed.
Yes.
I started to train more. And August 2022, I took them up the mountain. 5 of them, their dreams became a reality. We were able to help 5 children with hearing aids.
And financially, what does that cost?
One hearing aid is
as
about
example,
between 50 to 60,000
as
rand.
much as that, eh?
A cochlear implant is
The
about,
one when they actually put that thing on your head, eh?
that's about 500,000 rand.
Jeepers.
To your international audience, it's 500,000 South African rands.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But here's the beauty of going back to why we do what we do, why I feel
Yeah.
living a life of purpose is so important. From the 5 kids that we implanted the hearing aids, they invited us over to while they did the procedure.
So let's go back to, so they implant the hearing aid, so they're deaf people that suddenly they're starting to hear.
Exactly. And children.
I don't know what's possible.
Yeah.
I don't know. Was that possible?
There's various tests that they do.
Okay.
So, and it depends how far down
I know
your
those
hearing is.
cochlear ones, I've heard of that.
Yeah, but normal hearing aids that you find the very old people using now,
Yeah.
they do it for kids as well.
Okay.
So there's a place in Pretoria called the Children for Hearing Loss. They were one of our partners.
Yeah.
They actually do this. So with these 5 kids that we've done, they invited us for every single one, the fitment. But all of them stood out for me. But the 15-year-old girl, imagine for 15 years of your life, you can't hear, right? And suddenly you can hear.
So she's never heard anything.
She's never heard before. And this is how it went down, Russell.
That must be hot, touching.
I'm going to
touching.
tell you the story now. My wife was there and myself, and the audiologist told us exactly what the procedure is, how it's going to go down. She said she'll do various tests, etc., before putting the hearing aid. Then she'll put the hearing aid in, and they'll do other tests, and this child would be able to hear. So I'm sitting here. The child's mother is on that side, right? And the child is on there, or sitting in the chair.
Yeah.
So they do the test, etc. And then the audiologist says to the mother, greet your child. And she says, hello, Baba. Immediately this child turns, hello, Mama.
Like a goosebump.
Brother,
She's never heard her mother speak before.
it's a tear-jerking moment. I've got goosebumps
Yeah,
when I'm still
It's a
relating
big
this.
deal. It's a big deal.
It really is. And that broke me. It broke every one of us that were in the room.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's massive, and that's why
Yeah.
I will do this over and over again, just to see that smile on another human's face.
You know
will
what?
do
We
that.
take it so for granted.
Powerful.
Don't
do.
we take it for granted.
Yeah.
You can hear
Yeah.
or see, for instance. You take it for granted.
So
But
another
it's not for granted for everybody.
Exactly. And this 15-year-old girl, because we had given her the gift of hearing, this was in 2022. 2023, she started to excel in her class. And I coached her, mentored her for a few months as well. And she now tells her mother, because we're in contact, she's aspiring to be a lawyer.
It's amazing.
I mean, they say if you can touch one life, it's magical.
Yeah.
For me, I want to touch as many as possible, but just changing that mindset of the one girl. And I see her now on TikTok because she's following me and she's doing videos and all of this as
she's
well.
like into
Her name
it,
is
eh?
Kwazi, by the way. She's from
Okay.
Orange Farm on the other side.
Yeah. That's so cool.
The youngest was a 6-year-old boy
Yeah.
that we implanted. So that was 5 kids. And, shout out to NetBank because they had come on as a
Did
sponsor.
they come on as sponsors, help you?
And they helped us with this
Assisted
as
you.
well.
Yeah.
And we held all these workshops.
And now I suppose now that you've done this, it's easier to raise sponsors, etc. for the next trip.
It's not at all.
Eh?
It's always a challenge.
It's always difficult.
It's always
Okay.
very, very hard. I tell you, in my opinion, and I always say this to corporates, and I'll say
Yeah.
this, while we live as well. With corporates, the problem is they will use their funds for entertainment projects versus community projects like disability projects,
Yeah.
etc. And they need to change the way they think because in South Africa, there's a lot of people that are deaf currently, a lot of people that are blind. They need to get more involved in this as well. And what we drive with our foundation is to encourage them to get involved.
Yeah.
Look, we're sharing their name out there. They become a partner. So they're getting some sort of marketing as well. All we need is, we will do all the spade work. We're climbing that mountain at our own risk, right? Anything
sure.
can happen to
For
us.
sure.
We
Yeah.
will do all the legwork.
Yeah.
All we need is come and help us out financially so that we can make all of these dreams, etc., possible as well.
And there is that, it's a tax write-off for the...
We give them a Section 18A, right?
it's money that would have gone to tax, you put into a good cause.
Exactly. So corporates really need to come
it's
to,
a huge
to the party.
thing. It's a huge thing.
It is.
Yeah.
And in fact, we're growing now. We're finding a lot of international people paying attention to our foundation because they're recognizing the work. But why can't the local South Africans recognize what we're doing?
Because there's still money
There's our country, right?
There's still money. I mean, the economy is maybe not great, but there's still big
there's
business out there.
There's a lot of
big
funds.
banks, etc.,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be.
Is there a way for the public to donate to?
Yep, they can go onto our website, which is called BeTheBestVersionOfYourself.co.za. And we market
Maybe
a lot.
this touches someone you don't know,
Yeah.
All you need is that one person or two that
need that
are
one or
out there,
two
they
people.
start
That's it, yeah.
assisting,
So we try to connect with them. We try to set up meetings with them as much as possible. For me, all we want is a time slot just to come and present to them. And we'll just share everything. With the 2019 climb, the 2022 climb as well, a lot of it we funded. Or in fact, my company, Straight Talk with Nolan, funded because we struggled to get funders. And it's always a challenge. But when we make a promise or we make a commitment that we're going to do something, we do it no matter at what cost.
Are you planning another Kilimanjaro or?
Yeah, so that was 2022 with the DEF.
Yeah.
And then 2024 is when Sivan from Eastside Bar
Was that
joined me.
another one?
That was another one. That was
not that one.
That was the third one for me.
Okay.
So there we are doing it for mental wellness and cancer.
Yeah.
So what we do with our organization is, because we are non-profit, we know how hard it is to raise funds. We partner with other local non-profits and we support them. The funds we raise, we give them the funds to run their businesses as well. So we partnered with a place called Tandanani who takes care of mental wellness and a company called Beacon of Care in Durban that takes care of cancer patients.
Okay.
And we gave them funds. We gave them a check of 15,000 Rand each. With the deaf community, we were able to give them a check of 40,000 Rand.
Sure.
All that's coming from the hard work that we do. But with the 2024 climb for cancer and mental wellness, I'm not sure if Sivan mentioned this. I don't think he mentioned it. But I think we made history because he shaved my hair on the top of the mountain at the peak of
You spoke
Kilimanjaro.
about a shave-a-thon, and then I thought afterwards, that sounds pretty cold.
Well, here's the thing, right? You should be at the peak of the mountain for 15 minutes maximum so that your oxygen levels don't drop.
Oh,
15
really?
minutes.
So
you should summit, take your photos, take your video, and get down
Get
off
out
the
of
mountain,
there, buddy.
right? We stayed on for about 30 minutes.
He's like, I'm going to give you a bit of a, give you
And
a
he
trim.
there's some pictures on his Facebook, on my on our foundation Facebook as well. So go and check it out. We did a shave-a-thon on there, and I don't think anyone's ever done that before.
No, I don't think so.
But the cause was so real for us that we did it. That was a successful climb. We came back down, and now our sights are on. So we do this every 2 years. 2026, we're taking 5 blind people up the mountain, and we're doing it for autism. So we partnered with Blind South Africa, and we partnered with a company in Durban called Colors of Bliss, who deals with autism. Again, I did not know much about autism until I started understanding
getting a
what
bit involved.
autistic kids go through, etc.
Yeah.
And I'm learning so much more about it as well.
Sure.
And we've started, our first project is actually in April this year at Ritvlei Zoo. We're doing a climb for autism because it's Autism Month now in April. So we're trying to get as many people as possible in this venue, do a 5-kilometer hike, a very easy hike.
So it's kind of a fundraiser.
It's a fundraiser.
Yeah.
But the key aspect is to bring people in and explain what autism is about so that we can educate the community, educate the public on it as well. So that's our climb for 2026 with the foundation. So that's with Kilimanjaro expeditions. There's so much more that we do.
Yes.
So I don't know whether you want me to touch on it.
Touch a little bit,
well.
just a little bit, yeah.
Okay, so the foundation is broken up into 2 phases. One is climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. The second part of it, the second project is called Project 1 Million. And Project 1 Million is to touch 1 million lives in South Africa with our coaching programs. So with Project 1 Million, we want to start up something that we call a community skills village. So what is a community skills village, or what's the idea behind it? It's very simple. We want to have something to start off with this year with an incubator, and then go to a physical land. We're looking for land where we can put in classrooms, etc. What we're going to do in here is, for the first 3 months, we get the youth that come in. Obviously, they're going to be sponsored by corporates, and this is where we need corporates again. We spend 3 months with them, getting them in the right state of mind through our programs. Once we get them in the right state of mind, the next step is to say, Russell, what would you like to focus on as a career path? Andrew, what would you like to do? And then if you say, okay, you want to go into IT, this is when for the next 3 months, we get an IT specialist that comes in, trains
Yeah.
Russell on IT.
Yeah.
So in that 6-month period, what we've done is we've got Russell job ready. Russell can now go out and become an entrepreneur. He can go out and work for a corporate, and he can say to us, Nolan, you know what? This program was so effective. I want to now become a trainer or coach this to other people. So we say to Russell, okay, you can coach under our company because we got the IP. You now find students that you want to coach. We'll tell you what it is, and we'll pay you.
Yeah.
More of the funds will go to Russell because he's doing the coaching, and we keep a certain percentage as royalties in our company. So we've now created employment. So when we say touch 1 million lives, this is what we want to do.
Yeah.
Empowering, yeah.
It's empowering.
It's empowering.
You touch 1 million youth in South Africa, what would happen to the dynamics of this country?
No, it'll shift, man.
It will shift. It's a ripple
yeah,
effect.
no, it's huge.
And we can't do this alone, right?
No.
I can't coach 1 million. And that's why we need more people to come in and get involved, more corporates to buy into this project. Look, all they need to do is listen to what we have to say.
Yeah.
Look at our 5-year vision. I've mapped it out in such a way that 1 million may seem like a big number, but I will show them how we can do this in a 5-year period. It's so simple.
Jeepers.
So that's the big project that we're working on.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm rolling out the book. So you'll see a lot of the things with the book. I'm very youth focused because I believe in their potential. I know they can make a difference to the country. We need them to make a difference to this country.
Would the government give you funds as well, or is that
We've been trying
questionable?
with government. It's very questionable.
Yeah.
I don't think they fund the right people.
Yeah.
Look, with the nonprofits that have started, it's kind of opened the door in a way where nonprofits are being created for the sake of being created because they see an opportunity to make money.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's not really
It's
the
the wrong
correct
way.
intention.
They're obviously going in
Yeah.
with bad intentions as well.
Yeah.
We've seen it. I've been approached by a few people that says, well, we can sponsor you, but give us a cut on the side. I built my name from scratch. There's no way that I'm going to damage my reputation. They can keep their 15% and go to someone else.
Yeah.
I'm not prepared to get involved with anything like that.
Yeah.
We do things by the book.
Yeah.
We have our financials in place, and we always want to be legit. We've grown.
It is the way to do it.
It's a way to grow.
Yeah.
The good news about the foundation, and I said we're growing at a very rapid pace, apart from me being connected to Ignite Humanity in Canada, they've actually agreed to donate us a classroom, a container classroom, but it's not like your normal containers that you carry goods.
Yeah.
It's a proper classroom container. It costs about $40,000 US. So they're going to be donating one to us. All we have to do is put it,
awesome.
find land and put it on
Yeah.
there as a startup.
Yeah.
And then
It's a
we want
start.
to grow it.
It's a start.
This skills village must get to a point where we get like the local community people that come in and do some planting. And when they do the planting, they can like help their families, feed their families. The whole concept of the skills village is teach a person how to fish.
Yes.
Because if we can teach you how to fish, you can sustain yourself longer.
100%.
We don't want to focus on entrepreneurs that get in for the money and they end up jumping from one startup to the next all the time, because then they're not sustaining
It's
themselves.
not, it's not sustainable.
And that's the problem that we find. So,
Sure.
Going back to your question of can government get involved, I think they should really get involved because this will pick their name up. But what I would like to see, my personal opinion, and it's not your opinion, and I say it out loud all the time.
Okay.
We need to find people in government that are proper leaders, people with visions.
Yeah.
And the only way we're going to do this is by getting the younger people into government that can lead because
the
they see
future.
it for the
We're
future.
talking about the future, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Currently, we're not in a good state. We see it.
We know it.
We're not in a good state.
Everyone knows. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know it.
Exactly.
You know.
Just drive around, right?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
and
Yeah.
So we don't want, for me
Yeah.
at one stage, I'm going to have grandkids. I want them to live in a proper infrastructure.
100%.
We want things to be working. So that's why at my age now, I want to play an active role in kind of reforming the way we do things in our country.
But like you're saying, when you start with one person at a time, and it starts
That's
going
it.
out from there,
Yeah.
Then you take that youth, for instance, and if you've made an impact on their lives, they're gonna
do it to someone else.
But they're gonna say bring their kids up in a different fashion,
Different mindset.
a different outlook.
Yeah. That's it.
And that's how it starts changing.
Yeah.
Am I right?
But we got to install this change in them.
Yeah.
We got to move them away. And I don't want to say that all the youth are in this way, but a lot of them have this entitlement mentality.
Yeah.
For example, they want to finish university and walk into a job that pays you $200,000 a month.
Doesn't work
It
like
doesn't
that.
work like that. My first paycheck was like 243 rand a week.
Even with your
come on.
education,
Yeah.
it doesn't work like that.
And I didn't have education. I was a packer and a sweeper, in a factory. But I took it on because back then you needed a job. You needed that money to come in. But again, you don't have to stay a packer and a sweeper or a petrol attendant.
You can move on from that.
all your life. No.
This is part of the
Part of growing
learning
up.
process,
Yeah.
growth. Tell me something. So we're sitting here and I'm looking at something that looks very dangerous, Nolan. What have you brought us here? Let's quickly touch on that.
This is very interesting.
Is this like a walking stick that's
No.
gone wrong or something? What is that, Nolan?
So this, my friends, this is the power of your mind.
Okay.
This is actually a 10 millimeter steel rod. At one stage,
Who painted
This
like
is the,
Superman?
so I don't think I can unbend it anymore. So this was actually a straight bar.
Okay.
Right? I did a program called Enlightened Warrior.
yeah.
Enlightened Warrior was all about you believing in yourself, believing that you can do anything, that nothing is impossible.
Yeah.
So it's over a weekend because obviously you got to focus and get your mind coached up on the Friday, Saturday, or become on that high to a point that you can actually do this exercise.
Okay, so
on the
what's
Sunday.
involved with this?
So this exercise is very simple. On the one end, you'll find there's a plastic here, right?
Okay.
There was a plastic on this side, but it's actually missing.
Yeah.
So what this means is, let's say Andrew as an example. Andrew and I have been together for the last 3 days. We've been doing mindset training.
Prepping.
We've been prepping our mind, just all the mental work, etc.
Yeah.
And on the last day, which is the final day, Andrew is on the one side. He's got used to who Nolan is. He believes, he trusts me,
Yeah.
right? So Andrew, on the straight bar, puts this part just by his throat. It was straight.
So you put it down, your esophagus?
Your
yeah, what is it?
esophagus.
It's
I always have a
esophagus,
problem pronouncing that word, but esophagus, yeah.
Like actually, because now I'm putting my finger there and this thing,
It's soft.
It doesn't feel like it wants to be prodded.
Correct. It doesn't.
No, it
really
doesn't.
doesn't.
It feels like I'm going to...
So it's straight. So you put it on your end.
Okay.
I put it on my end. We look into each other's eye and we trust the process.
Okay.
We have faith and belief that we will take a step forward. And it actually is that. Take a step forward. And
Start coming together.
As you take a step forward, this starts bending. But the moment you impose any fear thought in your mind that this, for example, is going to puncture
gonna
you,
damage you.
or it's going to damage you, then it's out the window. Because then it means you don't believe.
So you
that
keeping we keep the focus.
We keep focus.
And you get your attention is away from what's going on
It's
here.
away from the pain.
Yeah.
It's away from
there is pain.
anything happening. There is pain.
No, there's pain going on there.
Exactly. So it's away from that completely, and all
Yeah.
you're focusing is not on this.
Yeah.
I'm focusing on Andrew.
Yeah.
I'm looking Andrew in the
Yeah.
eye, and I'm saying, I've been at Andrew for the
we're
last few
working
days.
as a team.
I trust you, yes.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to do this. And as I'm looking towards you, I just take a step forward. We both take a step
Yeah.
forward simultaneously.
Yeah.
I take a step forward. And as you take a step forward, you know that that should be blocking me from coming closer to
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
is actually getting me closer to you. Closer to the point where it becomes the way it is, like this here, bent. And my end thing is I go and hug Andrew.
Sure. And
And we tear.
you've done,
Andrew,
there's emotions coming
tear.
up. Yeah.
Emotions come up.
Yeah.
And we look at it
Yeah.
and say, because this
Yeah.
falls down, right?
Yeah.
After we've done it, and after we hug, and then you say, you look at it and say, did we really do this? It's the power of your mind.
Because this isn't Mickey Mouse. This is
a steel rod.
This isn't a piece of wire, you know.
And this was a program I did I'm trying to think of the year, I think it was in 2015 or 2014 or
Does this go like this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
2015, 2014. So prior to this, I actually did a program called Millionaire Mind Intensive. It was at Empress Palace, and a guy
Yes.
called Tia of Eka did it.
Okay.
Back then, it was dowel sticks that we used, and my wife and I did this
And you
together.
broke them, or
And we
what?
broke the
Okay,
dowel
the
stick,
dowel stick.
almost half. But again, it's the power of your mind. My mind has been focused for many years, just off topic as well. As a little boy,
Yeah.
when I was growing up, as part of my Hindu culture, I walked on the fire multiple times.
Did you?
Yeah.
Why do they do that?
So in Hindu religion, we have a god that we pray to.
Yeah.
We call her Mother Shakti.
Okay.
So she's our mother, and she's always protecting us.
Yes.
So when we're doing the actual fire walking, there's like a lot of people call it a statue
Okay.
of her on there. So you
Yes.
kind of make eye contact.
Yes.
And you're focusing on her, not on the hot coal.
Okay.
And you're walking
So
across.
you're looking at her, not you're not
looking at the hot coal.
Yeah.
And it is hot because you see the preparation prior to
You know it's hot.
You know it's hot. And I did that for about 10 years of my life growing up.
As a kid?
As a kid. My first time was when I was 11 years old, I think.
Jeepers, that's young.
Yeah. And it's all about your faith
Yeah.
and belief that you
Yeah.
can do things like
Yeah.
that. And I've done the piercing, you know, with the hooks. You would have seen it on other people.
Sure.
Again, one would think
it's
you
a similar
feel pain.
thing again.
But it's again,
It's mental.
Your faith and your belief in what you can do.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that was all part of my grooming, that I can do this. I can do anything in life. All I have to do is focus my
Yeah.
mind.
I think maybe it was part, like you're saying, it's been from an early age.
It's been from an early age. And although I had left it after I passed, 22, 23, I had left it.
And you got busy with life, with
Life caught up,
family and kids
exactly.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think everyone does at some stage. Hey?
And that's one of the things you want to change as well, right? Because, you know, where I come from, and I'm sure you would experience this, and Russell as well, we come from this background where the narrative is, you go to school, you get a good education, go to university, get your degree, go and work, get married, have kids, end of life. Nobody teaches you that there's something beyond that, and that's living a life of purpose.
Yeah.
Living a purpose-driven life.
Yeah. That's
why a lot of the seniors in corporate now, people that are in high positions, they do exactly that, right? And you think a lot of them are happy?
No.
They actually,
Some are happy.
Some are happy, but a lot of them...
But not everyone's happy.
Not everyone's happy.
I think what happens, they get to that point where they've done so much and so much focus and sacrifice.
Exactly.
A lot of sacrifice, and often to the detriment of their families.
That's true.
And bringing their kids up, because dad's always flipping, working.
Flying all over the show.
All over the place. He's over here and there and all over the place. And I think on some level they suffer in that sense.
That's it.
So now you also assisting them to find that deeper
find
purpose.
something, exactly.
Find the deeper meaning.
And the
deeper
chase is,
meaning in life.
And the chase is not only money, right?
Yeah.
Everyone likes money. We need
Money
money
is
to
great.
survive. But do I need R1 billion to be a good person? No. I pass on tomorrow, and COVID was a typical example. COVID never discriminate against your race, religion, sex, culture, and how much you had in your bank account.
No.
It took out anyone.
Yeah.
So what happened to that person's money? It went to whoever was next in line, right?
Not good for them.
Exactly. So the point is, I personally, and I know you guys as well, we want to live purpose-driven lives. We want to be change makers. We want to leave a legacy. We want to make an impact.
I think there's just, the focus is then different.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, we still need to make a living.
That's the
bottom line.
We still have to pay bills, right?
And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that's what maybe a lot of spirituality people think, no, working, money is not a good thing in a sense. No, money is a very good thing.
It's a good thing.
And I don't see any problem in it. But I think you can bring spirituality into your everyday.
That's it.
And that's where the difference comes.
And that's a game changer.
And that's the game changer. Yeah. That's where the purpose starts changing. Yeah. And your focus is now broader. It's not just about like the money.
The chase.
You're coming almost a meditative lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, there's a big difference there, Nolan.
And I can honestly say that is so true, because I was also in that position. So with my IT work, I was traveling twice a month internationally, right?
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And it's tiring.
I was enjoying the perks, a good salary, getting the mileages, living in
nice
top-class hotels and stuff like that. But what I didn't realize was it was taking a knock on my family relationship. Until I realized that when I came home that, hey, you're a stranger in your own house.
And that's not a good place.
I decided to change things.
Yeah, not a good place to be there.
It's not at all. I'm married now. It's going to be for 33 years.
Sure, long time.
But I had to do a lot of work after that episode of traveling to start fixing things. So every single day, we are learning new things. We're becoming better, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I enforce, be the best version of yourself. Every single day, when you wake up that morning, try to be a better person.
Yeah.
Better than yourself. I don't want to be better than Andrew or Russell. They got their own goals. I want to just be the best version of myself.
And be authentic. That's a big part of our thing, is being authentic.
Yeah.
And that big version, that's your
It doesn't have
the
to be
lesson today, people, Be the best version of yourself.
But
And it's a trademark. I see a lot of people using it. I've got the trademark for it.
He's the original, by the way.
Hashtag, yeah.
Hashtag. So, Nolan, you're going to give us some links and stuff to your Instagram and whatever you're involved in, and then Russell's going to, put it at the bottom of
perfect,
it, and then we'll cut it up into shorts, etc., which you can use on your platforms or
you.
whatever you want to do.
Yeah, thank you.
And what I want to say is, Nolan, thank you, and you are a blessing.
Thank you.
Really.
And likewise
It's
to
been
you.
touching, brother.
Likewise,
Thank
Andrew.
you.
And to you, Russell.
thank you very much.
Please
Cheers.
like and subscribe.
Yes, please do. I went on to Innate State today. I went on last week when you sent me the link, and I didn't complete it. So today I went on and I listened to the intro video with Russell and Andrew. You're going to love that, the way they explain why they're doing what they're doing. It's really powerful. But listen to the videos as well. Some really good stuff in there.
Thank you,
really,
Nolan.
really good stuff.
Thank you.
That helps.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, Nolan. That was great, man.
No,
I
it's a
enjoyed it.
pleasure.
I really enjoyed it, honestly.
It's always when you...